My beloved child, listen carefully, because this moment is not like any moment before. This is not just a reminder, not just a passing thought, and certainly not a vague emotion. This moment is a marker in the spiritual realm, a point where I step into the space of your life, lay my hand upon your shoulder and speak to you with a voice that is both serious and deeply filled with a father's love. My child, the map of your life has slipped out of rhythm, and I have come to lift it up, to set it back into its rightful place, so that you no longer walk in the shadows, thinking you are going in the right direction. You have not been abandoned. You have not been forgotten, but something has shifted. A small movement that is enough to pull the rhythm of your life away from the atmosphere I intended for you. And precisely because I love you, I will not allow that to continue. My child, for a long time there have been tiny movements inside you that even you did not notice. The rhythm of your life, the rhythm of your emotions, the rhythm of your thoughts, the small choices, the decisions that seemed unimportant, all of them have been quietly contributing to redraw a path you never meant to walk. But I have seen it. I have watched each slight deviation, not to accuse you, but to rescue you before you go too far. Because if a slight misalignment is stretched out over enough time, the entire map of your life will slowly turn toward another direction. You will grow weary and not know why. You will be lost and not realize you are lost. You will keep trying, but never quite touch true life. And that is not what I want for you. I have come to open your eyes, not to frighten you, but to bring you back into a realm of spiritual awakeness, where you begin to see what you once only vaguely felt. You think you are just a little tired, just a little distracted, just a little loose in your discipline. But in the unseen realm, I see those as offbeat points that are slowly eroding your foundations. My child, it is not because you are weak that you have drifted. It is because you have become used to holding yourself up by your own strength. You have become used to running on the force of your will instead of walking in the breath of my spirit. No matter how beautiful a map may appear, it cannot lead you true if the compass needle is off. And that is precisely why I step into this moment not to scold, but to recalibrate, not to judge, but to heal, not to confuse you, but to restore clarity in your soul. I need you to see that your spiritual life is not only about praying more or less, feeling strong or feeling weak. It is about rhythm, about direction, about accuracy in each small movement. If you are even slightly off in the deep places, the whole outward journey will eventually veer far from where it was meant to go. My child, there are areas where you have been walking faster than I do, and there are also areas where you have lagged behind me. There are days when you try so hard that your soul loses its breath. There are days when you let go too much, until the memories of darkness quietly slip back into what feels normal. There are mornings you wake up feeling as if you are walking against the current of your own self, and you think it is because of circumstances, pressure, or people. But I see the true source. The inner map within you has turned slightly and no longer aligns with my compass. I see you when you strain to hold everything together on the outside, while inside you are unsettled. I see you when you smile at everyone, yet your soul is quietly sighing. I see you when you cling to your disciplines, but your emotions are pulled somewhere else. I see you when you keep silent, not because you are at peace, but because you do not know what to say without making things worse. None of these are signs of failure. They are signs of a rhythm that has slipped. But my child, do not be afraid as you hear this, for I do not come to say, you have been wrong. I come to say, my child, I am resetting the rhythm. I am adjusting the inner direction of your heart, little by little, so that the map of your life realigns with the very heartbeat of heaven. This is not just a correction, It is a reconstruction. It is a laying of foundations again. It is a reopening of a path of life you thought you had lost. And to do this, I need you to awaken. I need you to pause for a moment and look deeply into the small movements that are leading you on. You do not need to overexert yourself. You simply need to let me lead your steps again. You do not need to run fast. You only need to walk rightly. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to be sensitive. Sensitive enough to notice when your soul begins to drift. Sensitive enough to recognize when you are living by habit instead of by life. Sensitive enough to see when you are choosing what is easy instead of what is true. My child, spiritual awakeness is not about adrenaline and excitement. It is the light of true awareness. It is the moment you look straight at the offbeat rhythm and say, "Father, I see it now. Once you see, I will do the rest. For I am your Father, and I will not leave you to recalibrate your own map alone. I will take your hand, turn each angle, open each path, brush away each patch of dust and haze, and set you back into the exact place I intended for you from the beginning. When I do this, you will begin to feel something unusual. Peace returns. Focus returns. Clarity returns. The inner rhythm of your life begins to align with the rhythm of my movement. You will no longer live in the posture of trying to keep everything from falling apart, but in the state of being upheld by my hand. You will feel as if someone is gently undoing the knots inside your heart, even though you do not know when those knots were formed. Everything I am doing today has one purpose: to lead you into a journey of healing and full restoration, body, mind, and spirit. For I do not only want you strong, I want you whole. I do not only want you to move forward, I want you to move rightly. I do not only want you awake, I want you fully alive. Now let me take you deeper into the realm of awareness that only reveals itself when the soul becomes truly quiet. When you can finally hear the heartbeat of what is unfolding. Imagine your life as a forest after a night rain, the ground still damp, the leaves holding drops of light, and everything appearing calm while an unseen transformation is occurring beneath the surface. The roots are drinking water, the seedlings are pushing through soil, and the old layers of earth are gently separating to make room for new life. This is your soul in this moment, quiet on the outside, but undergoing a silent reconstruction within. You do not hear the movement, but I do. You do not see the shift, but I do. You only feel a strange weight and lightness intertwined. But I know it is the sign that the map of your life is being reset point by my hand. My child, I know there are days you look at your life and feel as though you are standing at a crossroads with many paths. Every direction carries the shadows of old decisions and the echoes of expectations you no longer want to carry. Like someone standing in a forest before the morning mist has lifted. You are unsure whether you are climbing upward or descending. But I see the whole landscape. I look at the map of your life as one sees a river flowing through many valleys. I see where you are meant to go. I see the ravines you must cross. And I even see the shortcuts you think will save time but will actually lead you away from the water source. And I do not let you walk alone. When I lift up the misaligned map before you, I do not merely point to a direction, I adjust the winds, letting my breath push you toward the very stream of light you need. Sometimes your life map becomes misaligned not because you are wrong, but because delicate specks of dust cling to the compass. These specks do not come from great sins, but from very subtle things, a sadness that lingers too long, a careless word someone left in your heart, a moment when you forced yourself to appear strong when you should have exhaled and rested. They are like faint dust settling on the eyes of someone walking at night, not enough to blind you at once, but enough to slowly blur your clarity. And when I place my hand over your eyes, it is not to scold you, but to wipe them clean, gently, layer by layer, until you see again the familiar light. That light is me, my breath. My peace, the very peace you lost because you drifted too far from your own rhythm. When I bring you back to awareness, I do not pull you by stern commands. I use images. I use memories. I use the smallest yet deepest rhythms. When you walk on a gravel road in the early morning, I let you hear the stones under your feet. When you sit quietly by the window and the light pours in, I make you notice your heart turning in a different direction. When you place your hand over your chest and feel your breath uneven, I remind you it is time to return to me, not to perform something grand, but to recalibrate your inner rhythm. One aligned breath can change an entire day. One correct awareness can change an entire season. One moment of stopping to look at me can change the entire map of your life. I see the places in you that are tired, like dry branches in a harsh summer. You think those parts have died, but I know they are simply thirsty. And my water is not something you must strive to earn. It flows from the very place where you place your trust. When I lead you into healing, I do not demand that you rise instantly. I water slowly. I let your roots soak. I soften the soil around you. I allow the hardened parts of your heart to become pliable again. And then, little by little, I see new branches growing within you, branches of peace, clarity, and stillness you once heard about but never truly lived in. My beloved child, I know there are regions in you that you walk past too quickly, like someone hurrying through a dark stretch to avoid looking at what is inside. But I want you to know I have been in that very place, waiting for you to return. I do not bring you back to the past to wound you. I bring you back to retrieve the torn pieces of your map so they can be restored. You cannot travel far if half the map is missing. You cannot climb higher if your roots remain buried under unnamed fears. So I lead you into awareness not to teach you to be strong, but to teach you to be true with your feelings, true with your fears, true with your limits, and true with me. I hold you in this moment not to keep you where you are, but to propel you into a new realm of maturity where you no longer know me only in theory, but in breath, in essence, in nearness, where you understand that when I place my hand on your shoulder, it is not only to comfort you but to guide you, not only to soothe you but to open your eyes, because there is a kind of maturity you can only see when you stand within. I embrace the maturity of a soul that knows its rhythm, knows its direction, knows how to listen, knows how to stand, knows how to pause at the right moment, and knows how to walk at the appointed time. I am resetting the posture of your heart, like a gardener gently straightening a branch bent by the wind. I do not snap it forcefully. I lift it lightly. I do not pull it sharply. I hold it steadily. I do not cause it pain. I bring it back into alignment. And when that branch stands in the right direction, it does more than survive. It can now receive light in the right angle. That is you now. I am positioning you toward the light, so the map of your life can begin to shine again, not with a light bursting from the outside, but with the light awakened from within. You have walked deep enough for me to speak to you as someone who is truly ready to change direction. No more overly soft words, and no more metaphors meant only to comfort. Now is the time for me to speak with the clarity of a guide, practical yet carrying a spiritual breath, so you can know exactly where you stand and how you must move. You have seen where the map of your life once drifted off course. Now I will show you how to keep it straight. How to walk in awareness, no longer repeating the old cycles. In your daily life, you often think you are merely dealing with small things, a conversation that drains you, an unexpected request that throws off your rhythm, a morning that starts slower than planned, a night where you turn from side to side because your mind is still heavy. You think these are normal things, but in truth, each of them is forming invisible currents inside your soul. When you don't recognize them, They begin pulling you in directions you never realized you had drifted toward. I do not want you to live vaguely like that anymore. I want you to understand that every small detail in your day is a whisper revealing the condition of your inner rhythm. You do not need to become someone who controls everything, but you do need to become someone who listens to the signs. I know the moments when you come home after a long day. Sit down on the chair and exhale a deep breath. No one sees it, but I see. No one hears it, but I hear. That breath is not only from exhaustion, it is the breath of a soul trying to keep its balance. When you open the refrigerator and simply stand there for a few seconds without knowing what you are looking for, not because you are hungry, but because your mind is overloaded, I see that. When you pick up your phone and set it down again and again, not because anyone called, but because you are searching for a kind of connection you do not yet know how to name, I see that too. Every one of those movements is a signal, a gentle reminder from within that you need to realign. And here is what I want you to know. You do not need to wait until your map is severely off course to return to me. You can adjust every day. You can maintain awareness in the most ordinary moments. You can learn to see life through the eyes of someone being guided rather than someone trying to manage everything alone. Let me give you a few practical images you can carry into your days. When you step out of the house in the morning, do not think another day. See it as the moment when you reset your compass. A single, quiet breath. A whisper in your heart, Father. Set my direction again is enough to realign the map inside you. No ritual needed. No intense emotion. Only the correct rhythm. When you feel heaviness in your heart without knowing why, do not overanalyze. Sit down, lean back, and let me restore your peace. Peace does not come from understanding everything. It comes from looking at me. I am the anchor. When the anchor is right, every movement returns to its place. When you work, let me steady your rhythm. I see the days when you push through without rest because you want to do well. You want to avoid disappointing others. You want to feel valuable. But you do not realize that when you work from a strained rhythm, the result no longer carries life. I want you to work in light, not in pressure. I want you to create value from awareness, not from overexertion. And so, with just a moment where you place your hand on the table and whisper in your heart, Father, lead me in the right rhythm, you will feel the entire flow within you shift. I see the nights when you lie down but your mind keeps running, thinking of what you haven't done, replaying conversations you're unsure about, questioning decisions you're not confident in. Nights like these do not happen because you lack faith. They happen because you are carrying things I never asked you to carry. And I want you to learn, this awareness is not about tightening your strength. It is about laying down what is not yours to hold. When you lie still and simply whisper, Father, I return to you what does not belong to me. I will take it. So gently that you may not even notice where the shift began, yet deeply enough to restore your sleep. You must understand that the maturity I am building in you is not vague and not made of distant lessons. It rests in the simplest movements of your life, how you speak to a loved one after a tiring day, how you respond when you feel misunderstood, how you sit quietly for 5 minutes to regain your rhythm, how you choose not to open your phone until your heart is steady, how you choose silence when silence is healthier than speaking. Every one of these is a step on the new map I am drawing for you. The maturity I am teaching you is a maturity that is not loud, not performative, not shaped by the need for approval. It is the maturity of someone who knows rhythm, someone who knows when to stop, when to step forward, which emotions to keep, and which to release. Someone who knows where they belong and who is leading them. You do not need to wait for a big change. If you simply walk in the right rhythm each day, the entire trajectory of your life will shift. My child, slow yourself down. The way someone who has walked a long road suddenly stops by the roadside to take a deep breath. This is no longer the part where I teach you what to do. This is the part where I hold you a little longer, so that what I have spoken does not remain only in your mind, but sinks all the way into your roots. You do not need to try to understand. You do not need to try to remember. You only need to let your heart soften. Imagine your life in this moment as a quiet room after everyone has left. The noise has faded, and only stillness remains as light falls gently across the floor. In that room, I am walking in, closing the door softly behind me, so there is no one left except you and me. I come with no plans in my hands, no reprimands on my lips. I come carrying only one thing, the intent to heal. I do not enter as a judge stepping into a courtroom. I enter as a father entering the room of a tired child. I do not ask you to explain or justify anything. I only want you to be present with me, exactly as you are. And in that truth, I begin to touch the places you thought had hardened, though in my eyes they have only been waiting to be watered. Remember the nights you lay still on your bed, eyes fixed on the ceiling, your mouth silent, but your heart whispering, countless questions you never spoke aloud. You wondered whether you were on the right path, whether you had wasted time, why your inner being felt drained while the outside demanded strength. I was there in every one of those questions, even when you did not call my name. I did not interrupt your silence or turn it into a tense conversation. I simply sat there as a quiet warmth beside you, like the blanket you pull up when you feel cold, like the little nightlight in the corner that never goes out no matter what the weather outside may be. I did not rush to redraw the map of your life with new lines. I began by resetting the emotions inside you so you would no longer feel like a forgotten character in your own story. You thought you were carrying yourself through those long, lonely seasons. But in truth, all along that path that felt so empty, I sat beside you and kept your soul from breaking. My beloved child, there are stretches of the road you walked through that even you cannot remember in detail. Only that you were very tired. The times you smiled even though your heart was unsettled. The times you said, "I'm fine," while something inside you was cracking. The times you chose silence to avoid conflict, even though you were truly hurt. Each of these moments is like a small line etched on the map. To the human eye, they look like faint marks. But to me, every mark holds a story, a testimony that you have endured far more than you realize. I do not dismiss what you have lived through. I do not say that was nothing. I place my hand on those memories and say, I remember, I see, I know. For only when you know you are fully seen will you allow yourself to be healed. Healing does not begin with forgetting. Healing begins with the courage to admit, yes, I was wounded, and Father was there. Now imagine again the misaligned map I have spoken to you about. This time, I do not lift it up high for you to see the whole picture, because that might overwhelm you. Instead, I lay it on the table between us, the way two people sit down side by side to review the old paths they once walked, the places where you ran because you were afraid of being late, the places where you paused too long because you feared moving forward, the corners where you turned in the wrong direction because a careless word stole your confidence. Everything is there. But I do not circle your mistakes with my finger. I trace the light. I show you the places where, even when you thought you were lost, I quietly held you so you would not fall out of my hands. There were days when you truly wanted to give up, yet something lifted you to stand one more time. That something was me. There were nights when you sat alone and felt a gentle strength pulling you away from the edge of despair. That strength was me. I do not appear only when you get it right. I remain with you when you are tangled, confused, weary, or wrong. And now, when I speak to you about awakening, it is not to shame you. It is to show you how deeply you have been kept. Do you remember those moments that seemed so small, yet stayed in your memory. A late afternoon when you rode home and saw sunlight passing through the trees. And suddenly your heart felt soft without knowing why. A morning when you stepped outside. The breeze brushed your face, and for a brief moment you felt as though someone wrapped their arms around you from behind. A time you heard a song, a verse, or a sample sentence, and tears unexpectedly gathered in your eyes. These were not random moments, they were the times I passed by, touching the rhythm of your life to remind you you are still sensitive to me. You have not gone numb. You thought you had dried out, but those subtle tremors proved your roots still live. I take hold of those little tremors the way a gardener grasps a tiny green sprout in a field thought to be barren, and I begin to water. My child, I know there are places within you that you no longer dare to touch, the dreams you once carried that now feel heavy the moment they are mentioned, the relationships you lost that still sting when the memory returns, the decisions you made whose consequences continue to leave you with quiet regret. You have placed all of these inside an inner drawer, telling yourself that what has passed is over. But that drawer is never closed to my eyes, not because I want to rummage through it, but because I will not let old wounds quietly dictate the map of your present. I will not allow the past to take your hand and lead you away from the future I have prepared for you. That is why, in this part, I do not come as someone knocking and asking you to open every memory. I come as someone standing outside, placing my hand gently on the door and saying, "When you feel safe enough, I will enter with you." I do not require you to return to those places alone. I promise to walk with you. Slowly, very slowly, at a pace your heart can truly bear. I want you to let your emotions exist without being judged. You have blamed yourself for being weak, for being easily saddened, for being quick to feel wounded. You have told yourself again and again, "I need to be stronger. I shouldn't feel like this. I should have gotten over it by now." But I want you to know that I do not despise the waves of emotion inside you. I am not asking you to suppress them. I am asking you to bring them to me. When a child cries, what it needs is not someone forcing the tears to stop, but an embrace that pulls it closer until it feels safe again, even if the tears continue falling. That is what I do for you. I do not rush to wipe every tear. I let them fall into my hands, so you may see that your sorrow has a place to land, instead of falling into emptiness. My child, try looking at your body as a part of the map I am healing. Your body has carried so much tension that you don't even have words for. Your shoulders tighten, your neck stiffens, your chest grows heavy, your stomach knots itself whenever anxiety comes. You think it is normal because everyone experiences it. But I want you to know how faithfully your body has carried the weight of your emotions. Body, mind, and spirit are not separate. When your heart is weary, your body signals it. When your spirit falls out of rhythm, your breath changes. So when I say I am leading you into a journey of healing and full restoration, body, mind, and spirit, I mean every part of it. I want your breath to lighten again, your steps to grow steadier, your sleep to deepen, your eyes to shine with clarity. I do not heal only your spirit so you may be more spiritual. I heal the dull aches in your body, the tightness in your chest whenever anxiety rises, the nights you wake up without knowing why. I touch each part with patient love, because to me, no part of you is insignificant. And in all of this, what I want you to feel most clearly is this: you no longer have to correct your path alone. The map is no longer something you hold by yourself. It is held between my hands and yours. You no longer have to fear that one small mistake will cause you to lose your way, because I am the way. You no longer have to fear that you are not discerning enough to see when you are drifting, because I am the light. You no longer have to fear that you do not have enough strength to finish the journey, because I am the life. What I ask from you is not strength, not perfection, but willingness to walk with me. Once you agree to walk with me, the hardest part is already behind you. The rest is mine to guide, to lift, to unveil, to realign, to water, to heal, little by little, until the map of your life aligns fully with the rhythm of my heart. And when that happens, you will discover something both strange and beautiful. You will not simply survive the seasons where your rhythm once faltered. You will truly come alive again. You will know what it feels like to wake up with a lighter heart, to work with a steadier peace, to love without fear of losing, to rest without guilt, to face yourself without turning away. This is what I have done, what I am doing, and what I will continue to do as I unveil the map of your life, correct every misaligned path, and lead you into spiritual awakening, then walk with you into the journey of healing, so you may live restored in fullness body, mind, and spirit. Thank you for listening to this message. Know this, you are not merely an audience. You are someone chosen to live in the presence of God's Word every single day. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any sacred message. Amen.